Oh my God, it was just awful. So I imagine the 3 has some of that as well, like that if I can't look successful, I can't do, be a success, I'm not going to do it. And how sad that is. It's like, if you can get into that 4 wing, then about being in touch with your feelings and be artistic, then you can start to express and, all of that. Would you like to share about your practice that brought you more from... This is Claire, by the way. Claire is the board president here.
Surprise, surprise. Hello. Well, first I want to say that I resonate with absolutely every screen that you've put on the TV. I thought I was a 3-2, and then you put up the 3-4, and I said, no, that's really where I am. And so many things that I'd love to say, but I'll talk about what Jerry asked me to. My professional career was at a university. I was an academic, and I loved teaching. It was, I could be on stage, and I could connect really well, intimacy with the crowd. I loved doing it. And I have to say this, one of the things that I discovered, because as a child, if I didn't get an A, I was crushed. I would cry, I was worthless, everyone would think I was stupid. I mean, that was the shame of it all, right? And then when I became a university professor, and I realized one day that I liked my C students just as much as I liked my A students. And it was just this amazing revelation. It was an epiphany, and wow, it caused me to relax a little bit, even though if I was ever in a class again, I'd probably have to get an A. Anyway, so going through my career as a university professor and later an associate dean, busy all the time and living very much in my head. And then when I got close to retirement, another long story, which I'll just cut to the chase, I ended up taking a healing touch class. And wow, I just resonated with it so much. And I came home from that class and I told my husband, now I know what I'm going to do in retirement. So I already had another thing to achieve once I got into retirement. But the beauty of healing touch is that it's a very heart-centered practice. You go into your heart center and you begin to relate with the client on the table, and it's a mutual collaborative work. It's not the healing touch professional doing something to the patient. It's a client, and anyway, it requires you to stay in your heart center throughout the session. And I think that was just such an amazing thing for me, being a 3 and a heart. That's where my natural knowing is, to intentionally and consciously go there and learn to go there and stay there was just the opening of a whole new trajectory, a whole new path for me that is bringing me home. So I just think this is an amazing, I've just been marveling. So many memories have come up, so many things that I go, oh, that's what, yeah, this is me. So thank you, Jerry.
Thanks for sharing, Claire. Would either of you feel comfortable sharing some insight, perhaps, about maybe the balancing out of energy?
Well, for me, as I've been thinking about this, kind of the most fun example that came back to me is that when I was a child, I don't know if we took Highlands magazine or something, but somewhere I learned that there were catalogs, and you could get gifts from these catalogs if you would sell flower seeds or vegetable seeds or gift cards. Age 6, I was doing that for my mother to give her gifts for the kitchen. But I think of that going, and of course, I only went to people I knew. I wasn't going for miles or something like that. But that was so satisfying, doing that. And then I was about 10 years old, and my father's family had a farm, and I would go on Saturdays with him. He would oversee the manager of the farm. And I was there, and there were hundreds of acres of tomatoes and alfalfa and all these things. But along the road was wild asparagus, and I thought, wow, I could pick that wild asparagus and sell that to the neighbors. Yeah, and I mean, it just makes me laugh to think of being such a young child and having those
Entrepreneur.
instincts.
So it explains to you, yeah. So did you sell Girl Scout cookies?
Oh, of course.
Well, there.
Well, and of course, our business, which found us, was I went to nursing school, so I had that two-helper thing. And Louis and I heard an audio tape, and it was about a network marketing company. And I said, they're up to something good, I'm going to get involved. He said, what are you talking about? It's network marketing. I said, I don't care what it is. It's something good. I'm going to do it. You want to do it with me? He said, sure. I mean, and so we had this, of course, huge successful network marketing business in the wellness field.
In the wellness field.
Yeah.
So see how the good use that Marion put her.
And I
students.
loved it. It was so much fun. I just loved it.
Great. Maureen.
Well, I can definitely relate to the needing to get straight A's, being a high achiever. But I went into the area of psychology because it helped balance me out. It helped me get in touch with my feelings, I think. And I've always, just to keep that balance, I've been in and out of therapy my whole life just to touch back in, because I forget myself, you know. And let's see, there's something else I have taken the training that Claire's taken, because that's helped as well. But mindfulness activities is my daily practice that helps me as well. Yeah, definitely. And of course, being a 3, I teach those classes.
Right, and mindfulness is obviously the antidote for all of the 9 personalities. We're noticing, we're observing, we're being aware that's how this works. And as I said, for me, these last 4 weeks have been great. I mean, I've just become so aware, I had that response, or I had that thought, and that's just that fake response again that comes from somewhere in my childhood. So, you just start noticing these things, and then it lessens the intensity and the drivenness of it. And again, for any ones, you can identify with this whole thing. I mean, and we were encouraged to do this too, that's the other thing in the school system, but I was one of the bright sparks, and I remember I was, getting first in class and all this, and then this really bright genius came into the class, and I was gutted. I mean, it was like, God, I can never beat him. He's always, he always had 2 points more than me, or whatever, per subject. And the sense of devastation that, I wasn't perfect. I didn't get 100 all the time. And it wasn't about image. It's a different way. It's very similar, but it's just that a little bit different. It's more to do with your sense of completeness or wholeness. Like, I was flawed that I couldn't get 100. Someone else had a hand up about 3s. Okay, no?
I didn't want to say.
Oh, Lita.
I'm not sure I'm a 3 first. I've been president of the school board, Parks and Recreation Commission, stood on all these different things as I'm growing up, and as my children were growing up, I was involved in everything. So I'm beginning to think I'm a 3. In fact, one time when I had a psychology class, one of my statements was to the whole class, in which I later go, oh my God, it was, everyone wants to do their best. Like, oh, come on, give me a break, really. So it's really kind of interesting to hear it, but I see aspects about why I do the things I do. Being on a treadmill and waking up one day and just go, oh my God, who am I? I don't know what I'm going to do next. Just to be. And I think this is why I turned, to unity. And the fact that unity benefits me in so many ways of that. Whereas being a Presbyterian, I had to be the Sunday school teacher that But so why do I do this? And it isn't necessarily although I really feel badly that I'm speaking out at the moment because
You're breaking that image.
I know.
Oh my God.
because I don't really feel as if I do it for recognition. I don't feel that. I feel it's an inner thing that I'm driven to do these various.
I was going to say
It is
so.
self-preservation. That's absolutely. Thank you.
And having said that, Lita was on the board, the treasurer, and the board president. But I will say that you are very heart-centered and you have lots of two energy. That's, but it's interesting that we're having this little discussion because I've always thought of you as a two, but now I'm beginning to see, oh, okay, yeah, you could be a three with a very strong two wing.
It can also be a social two. So this is where we look at, for example, the social two is very ambitious, gets a lot of things done, but is doing it on behalf of getting needs met indirectly through that achievement.
Okay,
So I think it's important to explore all of those different facets.
Mm.
The thing that we know about the threes, though, is that their task orientation trumps relationships with people.
So does that?
there
So
could be-
you're more goal-oriented and driven than person-oriented and driven, or are you more person-oriented that causes you to do the tasks and the goal?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of that is great insight. You're very social. You are very social. But as Wendy said, it could be you're the social three as opposed to. Sorry, the social two. Yeah, as opposed to. Yeah. Isn't this exciting? There's just so much good stuff in there. I've got to go there. Okay, so just to have a look at examples. Tony Robbins, motivational speaker, of course. Michael Jordan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe. Oprah Winfrey. I mean, my God, what a success. Justin Bieber, who cares? All right. My one slipped there. Now, here's another example, Tiger Woods. See, like Bill Clinton, Tiger Woods, like that deception, presenting one image and then the other. But not to say that other numbers don't also do that, but it's interesting. I have no idea who Hassan Minhaj.
He's a comedian.
Oh, that's the comedian. Okay, Danny Glover, Rudy May Moore? No idea.
Is that Ray Moore?
Ray Moore? I don't know. And then we have fictional characters. It was funny, I was watching something last night and there was a fictional character that was so much a one. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then I realized that if you're going to write a script for a play or a movie or a TV show, that's what you have to do. You have to paint these people so that you get in touch with the energy of them, and it's obvious that they're different from the other characters, and then they don't match, and they have conflicts and all that. Rachel Berry from Glee, if you ever watched Glee, she was definitely Lucille Bluth, Arrested Development. That's good. Oh, Blanche Devereaux, Golden Girls. Now, there's a great example. Watch an episode of Golden Girls and see if you can figure out who's who in the lineup of those four characters. So, George Washington was a three. I'll take their word for it. Jimmy Carter. I would not have struck me as a three. But on the other hand, Habitat for Humanity and projects. Social Nine.
Social nine, Obama's a social nine. I think Jimmy Carter is much more social.
Yeah, I don't get that same energy like of the Bill Clinton. I think Bill Clinton is a much better example of a three. Caesar, Prince William, Condoleezza Rice. Who knows? Alexander the Great, Emperor Constantine. Who knows?
Lance Armstrong, another great example of it.
Oh, Lance Armstrong, and there we go again with
To the
the
extent of cheating.
cheating.
as much as he could.
Yeah, great example. Thank you. Okay, well, no, we won't get into that because that's too detailed. There was something, though. Well, so here, and we haven't done this the other weeks, and we don't really have time to do it, but Wendy has talked about it. So we have the subtypes of the self-preservation, the social, and the one-to-one. Again, I just think that word sexual has got too many, it's too loaded. People misunderstand it then, think it's about, you know, your sexuality or something. Let's see. I know that there was one other thing. Tips? Yeah. Okay. So to get along with a 3, carry your weight, be organized and prepared. Don't embarrass me in public. I must save face. That's the real 1 thing too. You know, but the 1 is embarrassing themselves. Like, it's like, you know, I knocked over the cup last week. Oh my God. Say what?
Nobody remembers that but you.
You mean the details of my life are not that important to you? God. Praise, compliment me, give me ego boosts. So Claire really was in charge of the survey, and someone made a great compliment about the survey, and I overheard it. So I thought, oh, I'm going to be a really nice one. I'm going to give a compliment to Claire about how good the survey was based on this other person's comment. So, you know, hang on a sec. Celebrate my accomplishments, my successes. Take notice of the things I do. I do a lot. No, emotion introspection is hard for me. See, that's not necessarily my experience, but I'll take that for granted. Avoid interrupting me while I'm working.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't middle me in a fight that's not mine. Because they want to sort of get along with everybody in one sense, and so if you're kind of trying to get them to side with you against others, tell me you'd love me even if I did nothing. Okay, we will mention that to Jay. Your assets at work. Able to chart a clear direction, communicates agenda with conviction, moves quickly, highly adaptable, decisive, outstanding capacity for harnessing energy. Approach is confident, rational, assertive, surpasses goals, strong time management. Challenges. Invest energy in relationships, learn cooperation, reduce competitiveness, pay attention to quality as well as quantity, take care of yourself, slow down, be mindful. See, there you have it, be mindful. Okay, Yvonne, you have a question or comment?
It's sort of more an opinion. A question, but it to do with the sexuality and having worked at.
Not about sexuality.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying is that to avoid using that instinct about sexuality, which I think is so important for men and women you're with. To me, that's withdrawing from the actual importance of who we are in depth in a sexual nature. I would rather see it defined and brought out there in the open.
I guess the point I was trying to make is that that label is not about sexuality, that it's misleading, that's what people would think it's about when it's not.
Isn't that kind of the one?
Well, it is, but it's a lot more than sexuality.
It's the instinctual drive for deep connection with other, whether it's expressed through
Sexuality
a
or not.
relation or through an intimate
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah. So, in terms of the all of the numbers, some are withdrawing, some are controlling, and some are sort of outward. So that would come into play in how someone deals with their sexuality. And for some people, like the 5s, they're like the monks. Many monks are 5s, and many people who are 5s can't get into committed relationships. They just can't make that commitment. Or they are in relationships that are not part-time, but they'll live apart. I know several fives who have a 30-year relationship, but they can't live together. And so that can affect or influence one's expression of one's sexuality. Just as if you're too outward with it, and it can be dominating of others, so you can use your sexuality to dominate other people. And then for some of the types, sexuality is this continual, high wire act of trying to control, because you have so many negative things, feelings, thoughts, and you're trying to express yourself sexually, and you're trying to get it right, and you're failing, and oh my God, the judgment, and on and on and on. So yes, of course, we do want to express our sexuality, but who we are on the Enneagram will also affect that very strongly. Okay, so I'm going to pass the baskets around.